All right, so Judas Priest Firepower came out March 9th, 2018. Classic Judas Priest, been around forever. One of the most famous metal bands in history.
Yeah, of course, when we were deciding what to review from that day, there were some good options, but we had to go with Judas Priest just because they're so classic.
Yes, it's really interesting. So this Judas Priest album has a new producer. It had Tom Alam, which was as like one of the producers from like 1988. They've had him before. But then there's Andy Sneap. Sure. And he's produced You Would Enjoy, his Overkill. Overkill's last album was produced by him. Except albums that just came out recently were also produced by him. Very famous. And he produced this one. So it's awesome. So let's get right into the first song and second single, Firepower.
Firepower.
Yeah, Firepower. So I'm going to say about this song, and then I'm going to say something about every single song on this album, is that Judas Priest is old school metal. There's intro, verse, chorus, sort of solo, then solo bridge, melodic lead, and then the song cuts off at the end.
Not expecting any, 10-minute epics from them.
Yeah, so Firepower is just, it's a great album starter song. It's a great title track.
Solid riff, and then it starts with a...
It does the
most...
It
kind of fades in, but
just that classic sort of heavy metal, power metal,
Yeah,
scream.
I think if you can start an album that way, do.
It'd be kind of awkward for, really, Cannibal Corpse to start it that way.
I mean, they could start with a, ugh.
Yeah,
whatever kind of, equivalent is good for your genre, start every album that way.
Yes. So the main verse riff is, and the verse vocals are, the main verse riff is this jerk. It's muted.
Very simple.
In fact, most of the verse riffs on this album are chugging on the root, followed by the fill thing, the thing that makes the riff, the riff part. Yeah. And this is very much that, but it's good. It's awesome.
Well, because it's I understand why they write their riffs that way, is because they want to showcase Rob Halford's voice.
Of course, Rob Halford's voice is a gift from the metal gods.
Yeah, that's kind of if you know you have a really good singer, you write your riffs around what they're going to sing.
Absolutely. So the chorus, however, firepower. Da da da. The guitar and the vocals match. It's going jank.
Yeah, which for me kind of I almost didn't like, because then it kind of in that mid pitch range felt like there was nothing, because I feel like there was the drums and the bass doing an ongoing stuff down here, and then the guitar and the vocals are up here, and then there's just nothing in that middle range.
Well, I think for this song they're just going for this very sort of melodic. Just this really powerful sort of driving, punching thing. And
it just felt too simple to me, I guess.
Well, I mean, you want your catchy singles, this is the second single, you want your singles to be right on the ear, something that's super simple but super enjoyable. You don't think about the most complex, progressive song on any album as being the single.
I'm not saying it needs to be complex, I just felt like it needed a rhythm guitar part.
Absolutely. I understand. And it's Glenn Tipton, but it's Richie Faulkner now as their second guitarist, because they had to get a new one.
See, this song has 2 solos. I mean, did you care?
No, that was it.
Have any specific opinions about the solos?
Well, the first one is this really sort of simple sort of that's how I hear it in my head, because it reminds me so much of that solo. It's this very simple arpeggiated thing.
I definitely noted that solo 2 was a lot more interesting.
Yes, there's a driving sort of bridge riff in between, but then solo 2 gets these sweet sort of tremolo warbliness and these muted shred things going on. Second solo definitely has a lot more going for it. And the outro has these sort of chuggy, versy, bendy things, and it just ends sort of like a...
Just a little thing that made me laugh in this song was at some point in the bridge, he says the word laser and rolls the R. Laser! I'm like, what? Why?
Because it's awesome.
But why?
Because Rob Halford wants to, and that's basically all you need to know.
Yeah, he can pronounce words however he wants.
Yes, but this is an awesome track, and it's an awesome title track. And just a funny side note real quick is, I think it was Richie Faulkner who said, this is the fastest song Judas Priest has ever written.
Yeah.
And I was like,
is it?
Is it really? We had to go and listen to Painkiller afterwards to see if that was true.
I mean, also we just had to listen to Painkiller afterwards, because that's Judas Priest's best song that has ever been written.
I mean, I agree,
in my opinion, that is Judas Priest's best song.
That revelation is not going to strike anyone like a lightning strike.
Lightning strike. Did it strike you as a good song?
It electrified me, in fact. So once again, we have that intro. It's this very classic sort of root riffy biz, and it's nice, good
mid-paced
Yeah. So this is the first single riff off the album.
Really?
Yeah. It's straightforward. It hits you. It's driving.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense to come first, because then it's not quite as aggressive as Firepower, but still is just a great straightforward metal song.
Yeah, it's really pumped up.
Yeah. Well, I guess, in my opinion, it kind of lacked epicness for me.
Well, it's because I feel like during a lot of the chorus, I even wrote, it's not very sung. Man on a wire.
Yeah, I felt like
dun, dun. It feels like he's talking almost.
And I felt like the pre-chorus, builds up in such a way that you would think...
Tolling the bell!
That you would think the chorus would be higher pitched vocally, and also just a lot of, most songs in general, the chorus is higher pitched than the verse, and this song is not. The pre-chorus goes up, and then the chorus jumps back down to, a low mid pitch, which seemed odd to me.
Yeah, a nightmare from Earl, be tolling the bell. There's a 3-part harmony at the end of the chorus, though. That makes the chorus for this.
No, it's amusing. But the problem is that the note that harmony starts on is kind of odd, kind of unexpected given the previous melody, which would make it hard to sing along with. Ya da 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 da. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, there's a lot on this album. There's quite a few times where the chorus feels like it has one note that's interestingly off-key. Mm-hmm. And this is, I would say, the first example of the time.
Not off-key per se, just an unexpected interval.
Which is it's fine.
You're expecting a fifth and you get a fourth and you're like, oh.
Like I said, but the 3-part harmony here makes it really good.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, because each voice is a slightly different tone.
Yeah.
Also,
it's the screamy one, the singing one, the talking one.
There's the pure singing one, and then there's screamy one, and I don't know, in between one. I love that the higher one was the screamy one. It was great.
Yeah, it was just awesome. But see, like I said, it definitely the pre-chorus in this one feels like the more chorusy part.
Yeah. Yeah. The pre-chorus has cool vocal layering.
Yeah, it's like I said, it has that screamy sort of stuff in it, which is why I said the pre-chorus feels like the chorus of the song, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's a 2-part solo done with parts straighting off.
It had a harmony section.
Yes, it had
which I really enjoyed.
Sweet guitar lead harmony thing going on, and
my only complaint is that section was too short.
I mean, you can never get enough sweet Judas Priest dual guitar soloing. Yeah. It's just a fact.
Well, and it made me kind of sad. There wasn't really this song had guitar harmony, but then that doesn't really come back anywhere else on the album as far as I could tell.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't agree with you. There's lots of places where harmony comes back.
I just feel like it wasn't as obvious, I guess. I don't know.
I think you're just wrong.
Okay, maybe I'm just wrong. All right.
But then after the solo, there's this outro lead with sweet bending and stuff in it, and they say lightning to strike, and then it just ends because all the songs on this album just aggressively end.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll I guess get to that as we go through the album. So outro, they don't like outros. Just
they just want their song to die. Unlike Evil, which never dies.
Evil never dies. Did you think this was evil?
No. Yes.
Evil in a good way?
Evil in a good way, that all metal is. Naturally the song starts off with the intro, which leads to the verse riff, and it's this very sort of just
another straightforward mid-pace heavy
right
riff.
On the root, and then on the sort of thing on the end. Like I said, and we'll keep saying it. We're not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah, where all the guitars are doing the same rhythm.
Yeah, and not saying it's a bad thing. It's 100%. It drives that sort of Judas Priest-y classic heavy metal sound. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the verse, this is, I would say, one of the most boring verses. Because he's just...
The melody doesn't go a lot of places.
The devils come from Georgia, looking to find you. And because that, and the combination, because the verse riff, that because it's so simple, and and the verse vocals are so simple,
it means
this verse is unfortunately boring.
Yeah.
And where I would say overall this album is very interesting and very pumped up. This is a very boring verse.
Then I'd say this, when it jumps to the chorus, it actually does what you're expecting. It gets higher, and
it has a very short pre-chorus first.
Oh, I guess the pre-chorus didn't make an impression on me.
It just talks about voodoo in it. It's this very short, it's weirdly like a major sort of bluesy chord, and the song is very like, heavy and minor. It goes, dun dun dun, beware the voodoo in the night.
Well, because I think it's a transition to the like fist pumpy, like high pitch, like
because
never dies.
Yeah, because he brings in that layering of the clean and dirty in the evil never dies part. But the pre-chorus is just beware the evil, the voodoo in the night. It's this like really pleasant sort of climbing bluesy thing. I'm like, that's weird when it goes into evil never dies, and I'm like, whoa, yeah. And the chorus is most of the repeated phrase.
Yeah, it's just, like, the first time the chorus happens, it repeats just twice, which to me, I'm like, that was a really short chorus there, friend. But then, obviously, later in the song, it'll repeat more times.
But the chorus has this riff that's awesome. That's it's this it's got, like, a slide in it. It's got this power chord slides to power chord thing, and it's really awesome.
I guess I kind of missed that because I was focusing on just the, like,
his pumped up
chanty, pumped up chorus. Like, I felt like this chorus was better than the previous two songs, in that it was more...
I don't agree that it was better than Firepower's chorus.
I guess.
Firepower!
It just felt more, like, pumped up to me.
I
think the transition from the verse to the chorus was better than in the previous two songs. Like, comparing the two.
No, I can agree with that. So then, so there's this thing where just bridge, solo 1, bridge part 2, then solo 2. And bridge 1 is this new, like, this really fat, like, really fast for Judas Priest. Like, it's really movie riff.
Solid solo,
yeah. And then solo 1 has, like, wah, and it's got it goes like, it's this wah, scaly sort of work, and it sounds really cool. But it's comparatively simple, definitely compared to the solo 2.
Yeah.
Which in the middle, there's the main bridge part has this almost master of puppets-y sort of clean, the echoey, slow spoken-y section.
But it does it like this does a good job. You know, like any song with a clean, slow section, you have to build back up to the like the faster, intenser part. And I think this.
Oh, yeah.
The song does a good job. Like, the vocals initially are, like, kind of more spoken-y, but, like, with a lot of attitude, and then they, like, build up into the next solo.
Which is why it's so good that solo 2 is much more fast, it's much more shreddy, it really brings the speed, and
then the last repeat of the chorus, I think, does a really good job of, like, after the solo ends, does a really good job of, like, kicking the chorus up a notch from the previous ones. Like, it layers octave vocals, and then there's extra repeats of the chorus, and there's leads, guitar leads over the last one.
And then it goes to this sort of groovier, slower riff, and then it ends. Once again, it just chops it right off.
Succinct ending.
And I kind of appreciate that, because there are songs that drag out for too long.
No lazy fade-outs.
Yeah, there's no 11-minute long song where the first 4 minutes is song, and the last 11 minutes is...
Not talking about anything in particular
there. No particular song there.
Yeah.
But the next song is Never the Heroes.
Never the Heroes. Was this song your hero?
Not specifically. Was it a good song? Yes. So this was the...
Is
Yeah. Well, this is the third single. And because it was the ballad single.
A ballad.
Yeah. This is the ballad single.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. So Never the Heroes, definitely much more a slower, more powerful song, I would say.
It's ballad number 1.
Yeah, the intro starts with this really sort of like quiet, like either electric strings or weird string work, doing the chorus melody.
Very quietly. Like it's standing way off in the distance.
And there's this sort of wubby synth that's going...
Yeah, at first I thought it was the bass, very quietly.
It's just weird sort of...
wubbiness.
And I don't understand what the sound is. If any of you know what's going on there, we would love to know.
It could just be the bass with some weird stuff on it.
Yeah, it could easily be. It's just really strange sound that I just didn't get.
And it's so quiet.
And then Phil Collins shows up for half a second.
Yeah, with the super duper echoey 80s drums for a minute.
Yeah, this drum fill that like pulls in. It goes...
Yeah.
And then this...
And then all instruments go back to normal.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's this slow marching guitar riff intro. That's this...
Just a heavy mid-paced riff, seems to be the theme of this album.
It feels like it's really designed to teach you the chord progression for the ballad that's coming up, so that you can go, whoa, 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 whoa. Mm-hmm. And if you're in the audience, you don't know the song. But then the verse, where once he's doing that more sort of talking, although this is very much more emotive, and he's just whispering and how it's like, I hate that we've become this way, and then it becomes more aggressive.
And the guitar is very kind of clean and plucky.
Yes, and much more. And the bass is just...
Well, that was my complaint there, is that I felt like this is an opportunity for the bass to be doing something notable, but it was just kind of like strumming the same note repeatedly, and I'm like, come now. Where you can actually hear the bass, it should be doing something.
Well, that's a bit of that classic sort of 80s, the driving bass was to do those, like, 8 notes. And it that was how you kept up the pace. It's just you had that bass just charging through. And I think because this verse is so slow, the bass kind of felt like it had to do that because it's the only thing really keeping the energy up. But speaking as a bassist, I also would have loved to have seen this build up.
It just felt like there was space for that to happen, and like nowhere on this album do you really like hear the bassist do anything cool.
Yes, the bassist is not. It's even though the new wave of British heavy metal, this person is no Steve Harris, But that's whatever. So we get into the chorus, and the guitar just opens it up. These big
because it's definitely the ballady thing of have some high vocals.
No more the heroes. We were made to sacrifice, or something like that. And it's this big, powerful story of like soldiers who are dying just for no reason.
I kind of felt like the melody of the chorus was a little like too boring.
Well, once again, I feel like because this is the ballad, and because it's this slow marching thing, and we have that really slow open chord intro riff, I really feel like this is supposed to get the audience involved.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, that's true. The chorus melody is very simple and straightforward. Like it's just going up the scale, but it's easy to sing along with.
Yeah, that's
just going up the scale.
And that's really feels like the what they're going for is this sort of bittersweet thing. I actually mentioned that like there's this triumphant guitar lead sort of thing that happens after the first chorus, which then sort of returns, I say, its feel. The solo is this slow, like bittersweet, just melodic.
So you liked it a lot?
Well, I'm just describing it.
Okay. Well, the way you're describing it seems like you were into it.
I 100% think it fits the song.
Yeah. Like, to me, it just felt like it wasn't slow enough to be a slow jam. Like, it wasn't slow or, like, emotive enough to be a slow jam solo, but wasn't, like, obviously the song doesn't need a shreddy solo. Yeah. So it was just kind of in the awkward place.
Well, the thing is, I feel like it's supposed to take a melodic line of a vocal. Yeah. That's kind of what this solo is doing, in my opinion.
I just felt like it should have been more of a slow jam solo.
I guess that would be just this song doesn't have any real, like, this isn't a very groovy song. And for a slow jam solo, I feel like you kind of need more of a feel.
I guess it's true.
And this was just sort of like a sad, bittersweet soldier story. And therefore they wanted to go for a more sort of sung line.
I just wasn't really grooving on that solo.
But
when the vocals come in, it's better.
Yes, and because the solo goes under the vocals for a while, and
like that was nice. I'm like, maybe that should have just been the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like I said, it feels like a sort of double melodic thing where it's like a duet almost between the two,
and that's cool.
Yes, and that goes that becomes the outro lead, and then the song, of course, ends
succinctly, like they all have so far.
Yes, about all these dead soldiers who won't be brought back by any necromancer.
Necromancer. Did you want to bring this song to life? Or did it bring you to life?
Yes,
I don't know.
The song brought me back to life. This song is awesome. This is a perfect post-ballad song. This song is great. Like, it starts off with this lead. And
we both were like, this is a Slayer riff in slow motion.
Yes,
like,
it's so
double
good.
the speed, and it's
so good. This thrashy intro, it's minor, it's perfect. It's just, it's so good. This is exactly the kind of riff I want when I listen to metal.
No, this riff is great. And then I feel like the verse is more driving than previous verses have been.
Yeah, well, because the guitar riff matches these chords that match the vocals. Yeah. It's just
And even though it's not very like wide, like, sticks a lot to the same couple notes, but like it still feels like punchy.
Yeah, it's 100% every single hit. Well, it's because they match and there's and the drums are driving so hard.
Yeah.
Every hit is like you're being just punched with music. This is so great.
Yeah, this album makes a lot of use of unison, Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, in my opinion. But this time I think it definitely worked.
And there's this pre-chorus, which is actually pretty long, where he's like, stealing the dead, dun, dun, and he slowly rises in pitch as he climbs. And
that's why it had to be so long, is because each repeat of the same melody vocally gets a little more intense.
Yeah, and underneath that, there's this like, it's this really awesome sort of like notey riff that's just becoming more and more intense too, and they're both climbing together, and it's just, it prepares you so much for this weird chorus that totally doesn't match, but is still amazing somehow.
Yeah, so it like, the pre-chorus kind of, it does a similar thing to, I forget which song it was. Lightning Strike, in which the pre-chorus goes up, and then the verse, or the chorus drops back down in pitch, but I think it works in this song. Yeah, because it's like a very chantable, very...
Well, because it's a hardcore juxtaposition, because this drops into a groove.
Yeah. I wouldn't say groove more as just like a walking... Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. It drops into a very much sort of slow march, where it goes, necromancer, stealing out your life. Where it's this call and response between the word necromancer and the horrible thing he's going to do to you. And it's so good, and then...
Yeah. It's very marchy, like, punchy.
Yeah, and the guitar's... It's awesome. Yeah. It just sits so low and so metal.
Yeah, something you definitely, like, even if you weren't, like, headbanging the rest of the song, you're like, oh, yeah, I can get into this now, because it's, I don't know, slower, groovier, whatever.
Yeah, it's just, this song is what metal should be. Sweet, awesome lead, driving, like, verse, pre-chorus, which totally pumps you up for the chorus, and the chorus, which just hits hard. And then that intro riff comes back after the chorus, and you're like, yes, just open the pit up. It's so good. And then when we get to the solos, both of them are bringing their A game.
Yeah, it's a cool trade-off thing.
Yeah, where they're both showing off their shred skills. This time.
Which is really nice, and like the mixing has done a good job of like each one's panned to completely to either side, so it's like you can tell it's two different guitars. Like
you feel like you're there seeing two different guitars. Yeah. If you're just listening to it with your eyes closed, you'd be like, oh man, I can just.
This is one of those songs that you need to have both headphones in to hear it properly. You know.
Yeah, or if you're listening to it through big old speakers like we are, you just need to be sitting right in front of them like we do, and then you can just really feel it blasting you.
Yeah, it's nice. And it ends with a dive, like a pew! And I'm like, yep, proper ending.
Well, that's the thing is...
Slow-mo Slayer.
And the fact is, this song isn't even that much more complex than that. Like, we basically described all the parts of it, and there's no fancy, there's no schmancy, there's nothing... It's just a simple, good metal song.
It's not complex, it's not fast, it's just, like, straightforward and heavy and good.
But the next song, however, is much more complex and dynamic and interesting and weird. And that's Children of the Sun.
Children of the Sun. Were you a child of this song?
Yes. So, Children of the Sun. It starts off with this harmony guitars doing this slow anthemic sort of... It's like beautiful lead that's just so awesome. It's so... You feel that fantasy world where something as crazy is happening and there's been a battle and a war for all of mankind or whatever. And this lead totally is there. And I don't know, I really liked it.
All right.
So when you the verse is this and then it gets this
and the vocals are very just nope
not that matters.
Yeah.
It feels very much like a march. It feels much like it's like I don't know what I've been told. This very much sort of you're supposed to walk to it.
Yeah, and because of that, it's a very repetitive melody.
Yeah, it is relatively simple. I mean, it all is though.
Yeah, that's like I guess a recurring annoyance of mine is that it's too simple.
Which is why when it goes into the chorus, I really like the fact that it's a vocal call and response with a guitar riff. So it goes dying one by one, something like that. Yeah. And it's really like that call and response I think adds that complexity where the guitar player is able to.
The chorus of the song is an improvement.
And it's got this very sort of marching tribal emotional beat that just hits you. Like, this is the story of, like, a group of people who are dying, and it's sad, and you feel it, and there's like a ritual to it. And I don't know, I really like that about it. And the bridge, once again, has that sort of slow with the clean guitars, kind of Master Puppetsy again.
Yeah. We both were like, they stole Metallica's tone here.
Yeah.
It is one of those clean middle of the song sections.
Yeah, and the bass is very forward here, and there's this slow, emotional, slightly distorted guitar.
And it has a really good transition to the solo, I think.
remember very well.
I'm not specifically remembering exactly what it does, but it just, it definitely wasn't one of those things where it's like, slow section, and then, like, pause. Oh, solo. You know, like, it just built up smoothly.
Which is great, because the solo is this awesome, like, pentatonic-y, shreddy thing with, like, so much feel and emotion. Well, it's not really shreddy, it's more just emotional rocking.
Yeah.
And it's just, this whole song is filled with, like, a heavy layer of, like, an emotion that, man, I'd love to see Rob Halford sing it in person, just to see the expression on his face.
I mean, Judas Priest is coming here in, like, a month, so we're gonna see them.
Gotta
see it. It's
gonna be
awesome. Yeah.
Then
sorry, I was gonna say, unless you have anything else to say about the solo.
No.
Like, the bridge built up to solo well. I think the solo builds up to, like, the last, like, chorus well. Because there's, like, this cool drum fill, and then, there's, like, some cool vocals there that leads to the last chorus.
Yeah, there's, like, vocals over, like, silence, and then it comes in heavy after, and it's like, yes, that hits so hard.
There's the last chorus key change.
Yep.
Because... why not?
Well, it's a key change, and then there are also guitar leads added to flourish it, and it's so good.
Yeah. That's a kind of recurring theme on this album, too, is that the last chorus will have, the vocals will be the same, or maybe more layers, and then there'll be guitar leads underneath / after to complement it and make it more intense.
Yeah, and then, of course, it ends abruptly.
Just ends after the last chorus, as basically all these songs do.
Yeah. But, it's just so good. I like it a lot. The next song is Guardians.
Guardians. How was it?
How about that?
How about that?
Guardians. It's this short instrumental.
Which is basically an intro to the next song.
Definitely 100%. They blend perfectly one into the next. But I want to say it's this beautiful piano piece.
It's a piano transitioning to guitars. About like 2/3 of the way through, it starts transitioning to guitars. Yeah, and then the guitars kind of fade in. In like big chords.
These big harmonizing chords.
Yeah. And like the way that like tone of the guitars made me think of the beginning of Burnt Offerings by Testament, where it sounds where the way the guitar is played sounds like a violin. Where it has a lot of vibrato and like just it sounds like a violin.
It sounds bowed almost. I'll agree with you, except I was thinking more like Dragon Force or something like that. Well. It's very power metal-y. This is like from a fantasy movie soundtrack. This is like the Battle of Orcs and Humans in Warcraft, or this is, Lord of the Rings music. That's what this is, and it's so good.
Yeah, and it's an appropriate intro for the next song.
Yeah, it's really great, and I think it just should have been part of Rising from Ruins.
Yeah. Rising from Ruin. Did it rise, or was it a ruin?
It was definitely rising. So it flows directly from Guardians into the. It starts up with this intro of these big epic to
the point that I feel like it's weird to listen to without Guardians in front of it, because it just starts with the directly into this riff. I mean, I guess it's fine, but it
works.
It's just kind of odd to listen to.
It's just if you want Rising from Ruins to start with lots of energy instead of having the piano before it. That's the thing. I would always listen to them together. Yeah, but. It's whatever.
Anyway, then there's this awesome lead.
Yeah, it's the lead or is it the solo? Either way.
Long lead, short solo, whatever. Yeah.
It's this power metal-y. It's got shreddy parts, but also it's this beautiful singing guitar lead that's just it's awesome. It's beautiful.
It's like the theme song for the TV show of the story that's about to be told.
Yes, it's He-Man. Powerful. And so the verse
is boring as fudge.
Well, I mean...
musically. And then I guess, because then it, there's just kind of chords, and then the singing is kind of there.
Really? I thought the singing
about the lyrics.
This is some of the most melodic singing.
I guess.
In this verse, is some of the most melodic singing on the album, is how I feel about it.
There are a lot of sustained notes. That's true. Like a lot.
Well, the thing is, the guitar is mostly clean chordal stuff and a strong bass line, but it's Rob Halford's chance to really show off these much more like lilting lyrical.
Yeah, and it's like the verse is obviously all about the vocals. Like,
100%. Everyone is cut out of here.
Which is why it like bothers me. It's like the symphonic metal problem with like all.
This does have a bit of that.
From what I've noticed of symphonic metal that I've listened to. It always just kind of like stops, and then there's something really simple / acoustic or clean or whatever.
Like it. Look to the stars and challenge all of heaven. Da. It's this beautiful sort of like.
I don't know. I just feel like it went on too long.
Sweetness.
Like the first verse, it has
was
like
a double verse.
Yeah, it is a double verse, and like is the kind of double verse where like. The transition between the two verses, I was like,
it's like power chords.
Yeah, I'm like, the chorus is gonna come. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, because it goes clean and it goes hard for like. Yeah,
so I'm just like, the chorus is coming. Oh, no, the chorus is not coming. Dang it.
But then when the chorus comes in, it's awesome because it comes back with those.
See, for me, I felt like it was.
Rising from ruins, ascending the light beyond the night.
I felt like it could have been more epic.
Okay. Well, there's no matter what could have been. What was there?
What I wrote when I was making notes, I said, the verse is killing time until the presumably epic chorus. Chorus less epic than it should.
I don't know. I really liked it because the guitar was this it's like sort of like driving, and then just powerful rising from ruin. It's just it just had the heart. It has heart. The song has a lot of heart in it. And which is why I will agree with you though that the transition from the chorus, having its power chords, having that heart, back to the look to the stars, clean guitars so suddenly it's like whoa.
There's no
that loss of energy.
There are a lot of good transition. Like there's lots of good transitions on this album, but that's always the hardest one to nail is the between the chorus and the second verse. Is like how do you make the second verse a little more exciting than the first verse, and it really kind of wasn't.
Yeah. So, and then when we get to the bridge, it's this new sort of climbing sort of riff. It's not like scaly, but it's just it's really it moves a lot. Is what I'm saying. And then the solos it's at this point it's like the solos are all really good. Like there's no except for some which are a little slow. At this point, I would expect Judas Priest solos to be great, and they are. Like there's just nothing.
Yeah, they're all like not overly shreddy, not slow jammy. They're just like. Mid-speed, highly competent solos.
Yep, and it was great. And post-solo, it goes into this sweet, awesome, that, like I said, I mentioned earlier, this fantasy movie, epic, triumphant, bittersweet, there's hope tomorrow lead that I just loved. Like, that lead back into the chorus is one of my favorite parts of this album.
And then back into the last chorus, it, continues the guitar leads underneath the chorus, which gives the last chorus more power to it.
Yeah, they definitely have a structure that they repeat for almost every single song on this album.
Yeah. Well, it's like they figured out, they're like, you know what makes choruses more exciting? Having guitar leads underneath. Let's do that in every song.
Yeah, it's definitely almost as intense as a flamethrower.
Flamethrower. Did you want to shoot it with a flamethrower?
It did burn me just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, this song could have been my favorite.
Yeah, this easily.
Could have been my favorite.
This is, of course, the Judas Priest song about the thing that kills people. Because Painkiller, it just...
But no, this song, the intro, verse, and pre-chorus, I was like, yeah, song's awesome! So
this is true old school heavy metal rock and roll. This is some British Steel-ish right here.
It felt kind of 90s to me.
Really? I feel like this is very rock. This is very old school rock. That's how I feel about it.
Right. 90s in a loady kind of way.
Okay. Well, much more blues focused. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's got that blues focused hard rock sound. And this intro is this very sort of pentatonic with pause. It's got pause in it. And so I'm like, whoa, yeah, this song's gonna be
and
great.
It's kind of bendy slidey.
And then the verse gets this. It's
awesome. Nice, paired with the vocals. The underneath the vocals is literally just one note, chugged, 0% interesting. But then, as the vocal line ends, the riff, the more interesting riff comes in, and then they trade off.
Yeah, so the verse is this, when you run a... It's just every single set of bars of the verse.
Sweet vocal slide there.
It's an awesome sort of bluesy sort of sass.
Lots of attitude,
It's so much sass. This is so sassy, and I love it. Yeah. Which is... And then this pre-chorus is great. It's got this sort of meatloaf-y sort of feel. I don't know if you've listened to much Meatloaf, but it's got this sort of like, no one survives this heavy load.
Yeah, it was kind of...
It's got this sort of layers.
Very like major and straightforward, and it kind of reminded me of the pre-chorus to Evil Never Dies, where it's like changes mood somewhat from the verse.
The voodoo in the night. It's these climbing into like a big, these big like self-contained chords where he's layering with himself a lot. Yeah. I would swear there's a female vocal in here.
There might be,
but I think it's just Rob Halford
or
getting
he can just
real
get
high.
some high notes. Yeah, he's got a huge range.
Yeah, I mean he's fantastic.
Probably like 4 octaves or something.
I'm sure. If you know, please put it in the comments.
Yeah, tell us Rob Halford's range. Yeah, but like the pre-chorus like gets some of the. It's exciting and gets this big chord at the end. And then the chorus is kind of weird. Like it doesn't.
I'm on the side of the.
It does that thing that I don't like of like dropping back down in pitch. Like I feel like it should stay a little higher. And then it uses this strange scale
of the flamethrower.
Yeah,
it's almost like chromatic. And it's weird.
Like instead of doing 1 3 5, it does like
1 2 4
1 2 4 something strange like that.
And it sounds discordant.
Weird. Yeah.
Because the 4, I'm told 4 can sound discordant depending on context, and it sounds really discordant here.
Yeah,
and it's
really
so
strange.
Jarring in the song.
Well,
that
and I can see that they were trying to be like, okay, we need an interesting chorus melody. Like, I can see someone sitting down and going, like, this chorus melody needs to be interesting.
I believe it was Andy Sneap.
And then they came up with this. They're like, oh, yeah, that's kind of a weird interval. And then it just, like, your ear goes, eh?
Well, the thing is, when you look at Evil Never Dies, it was... Not Evil Never Dies. What was it? When you look at, Lightning Strikes, it was, the talking, and then it went to, the da-da-ah, and the highest one was the scream 3-part harmony that sounded really good together. And this is basically like that, except the 3-part harmony does not sound good together.
Yeah, because they just picked weird notes. Like, it's not like they went into a different key or something weird like that. They just, like...
It just
picked an odd combination of notes to use that is weird to sing along with.
You really have to hear it.
It just is jarring to the ear, and it doesn't really fit, and, like, if it were up to me, I would totally rewrite this chorus. Because the rest of the song is great.
You're on the run from the gun of the flamethrower.
It's just so weird.
So strange. But so the solo is this much more classic rocky sort of bendy.
Well, and I was going to say, my other complaint about the chorus is that there's not really an interesting guitar riff underneath either.
Is it just
not really anything going on there.
Yeah, like I said, like this song has lots of excellent ideas, mostly in the intro and verse. Like I said, the solo though is great too. It's got this classic rocky sort of like lots of like bends going on. It's this very sort of like the song definitely feels like it was written in a different mindset than the rest of the album. Like. To me, it was definitely
when it felt like the verse was written in a different mindset than the chorus.
I would say the chorus is what it kind of kneecaps this song from being one of the best songs on the album.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like up in like from the intro until the chorus started, I went, "This is my favorite song on the album." And the chorus started, I went, oh, "Dang it!"
Yeah, the flamethrower.
Well, and like the bridge is good too. Like the vocal bridge, and like does whatever, and then ends on a high note, and you're like, "Yeah, that's exciting." And like, I don't. What did I say about the solo?
It's just a fun classic rocky solo. The thing is, it's not metal. It's very classic rocky sounding. And it's just
there's some nice squeal in the solo.
Yeah, it's really that bendy sort of old blues solo feel.
And then there's some guitar vocal trade-offs happening after the solo. It's like solid bridge there, and then it just ends.
Yeah, and
like suddenly.
Frankly, the flamethrower killed me and left nothing but a Specter.
Specter. Did you feel like you saw a Specter?
I was
from this song?
Haunted by it? No. Yeah. So Specter. It initially starts with the guitars really far away, and then it like throws in like the Transformers noise.
It's kind of odd.
I'm not even kidding. It goes or whatever it is. It feels like you're I swear it's the Transformers noise.
It's like they want to experiment using weird noises, but they don't want to bring that into the body of the song. So it's like, oh, let's just use like the intro, I guess, to use some weird sounds.
Well, I mean, that's when I think about people who do that. Like Tom Morello does that all the time, super successfully. He gets all those non-guitar noises in there that are really awesome. But this was just a weird sort of, like I said, this digital. It was a Transformers noise. I can't even explain it. But then the verse comes in, and this is one of the best parts of the album.
Okay.
In my opinion, because it's this.
My problem.
It's this really groovy part.
Yeah. Well, no, I liked it. Yeah, it's just a solid mid-paced groove sort of thing. But my only problem is that the intro riff, and the intro riff is the same as the chorus riff, and the verse riff are kind of too similar. At least rhythmically, they're really similar to me.
See, I wouldn't. I agree with that. They're similar in like tempo and chord progression
and feel.
But the thing about the verse is that it's these sliding riffs. It's it's these very much sliding from one chord to another, and that's what adds to that sort of groovy movement feel, and I love that for this verse. And then the chorus is Carolus Rex from Sabaton.
It's not, just the end of it is.
From the mind
it's just like,
of the Specter.
Yeah, the last of the Specter part, every time we go, see Carolus rise. It's like, oh, not that song. Yeah. That's only because they're similar, walking tempo. I'm just being
silly, but other than that, like I said, the groove on the verse is this awesome sort of thing.
I don't know, I kind of just felt like the maybe it's a problem in the drums, I don't know, I just felt like the pacing and groove, and rhythm of the verse and chorus are too similar.
Well, see,
the place where the vocals are both in the mid-range. It's not like it doesn't go from high to low, or it doesn't go from low to high. It just is all in the same range.
I feel like in the chorus there was, because it was sort of call and response, sort of just like back and forth between lead guitar and the mind of the Specter. Like they were back and forth. And I feel like the lead guitar was there to add that extra vocal element, and I mean, it wasn't done as well as it has been done in, say, like, Children of the Sun.
Yeah.
Which was like, Children of the Sun. Like, this one, it's much more...
They didn't fully commit to it.
Yeah, it was much more like the lead back and forth, and I don't think it's as good. But I certainly, like I said, I love the riff and the groove and the feel of the verse of the song. So when we get to the bridge, he, tells, a ghost story.
Yeah, with the spoken word thing, I just... if you're writing music... and you feel compelled to put in some spoken word, really sit down and ask yourself why you're doing this.
Ask yourself would Metallica do it in And Justice for All?
Sit down and ask yourself, does this serve the purpose of the song better than a sung part would?
Well, I think due to the spoopy nature of the song, that the creepy ghost story kind of works.
Yes.
But the problem is when you have, the powerfulness of the really layered, I know the Specter. Then it goes into this, there was
that part, the chorus there is, has a lot of harmonies and is, epic. It gets the epicness. And then you go to this spoopy, silly, spoken word story.
Well, it's interesting. And the solo in this part feels very different, too. And I wonder if this was...
kind of neoclassical.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if this was a Richie Faulkner more solo.
Maybe.
In that it's much more minor and neoclassical with lots of scaly dissonance.
It comes in to be duo sometimes.
Yeah, it's got these sweet sort of haunting leads. And it's kind of funny, I just want to mention here real quick that someone talked about how spoopy this song was. And it was kind of it was mentioned... I saw it on Metal Injection or something, that Rob Halford wants to do a black metal album with Nergal.
Yeah, I almost feel like that's a joke, because I don't know if Nergal does anything, seriously. He's one of those people where it's are you joking or not? About everything.
Yeah, but if that were true, I would love it.
Yeah, and Rob Halford, Nergal collaboration. I'd love that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Specter is a really good song, and I really like the way it's set up.
Yeah, and the solo, has a good variety of, tempos, and... There's some slowish parts and some shiny parts.
Yes, absolutely. It didn't betray us, and it certainly didn't lead us through a Traitors Gate.
Traitors Gate. Did this song feel like a traitor to you?
No, this song was my ally through and through. I think this song is one of the best songs on the album.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, I don't know if it's in your top 3 or not. I'll find out, but it's up there for me.
Actually, I've had to adjust my top 3 than what is written here because now that I've heard it again.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I love the intro of this song. It does a clean intro and then a little mini pause, and then it comes at you with like the heavy.
It pulls a battery.
Yeah,
it's 100% got that sort of like this gentle,
or like
clean
Fight Fire
guitar
with Fire, or like whatever, where it's just clean guitars doing a little melody thing, and then whatever. Yeah, and then your solid riff pops in, and then I don't know, changes riffs a couple times. Like, it's a long intro, actually.
Yeah.
Like, one of the longer intros on this album.
It's got that sort of, like, chuggy tap feel that...
Oh, and it's got a sweet, like, drum build up. And then, goes on for a little while with that. And then the drums drop out before, and it switches into the verse riff, so it, like, goes up in energy and then kind of drops down a little bit, but not too much. Like, the energy doesn't go away entirely, like in some songs. But it,
because the verse maintains a sort of...
The only thing that felt weird to me is that, like, the drums stayed out for a long time, weirdly.
Yeah.
Like, it stayed out for, like, half the verse before the drums came back in.
Because this song is all about the guitar or the vocal. Mm-hmm. That's what this song is all about. Like, the drums don't even matter. Oh, they do, of course. I mean... Obviously. I'm joking. But
it's a little odd when you have no drums in your verse.
Yeah, but it feels so, like, good. This... But none of that matters, even almost, because the chorus of this song is great. The chorus...
I think the best chorus on this album.
Oh, I would say undoubtedly.
And it's like... Or what I was going to say before we moved on chorus, the verse, I think, is one of the more interesting melodically of verses on this album. I don't know, there's just, like, some higher notes in it, and it's just one of the more interesting ones. Anyway, the chorus, this is an awesome chorus.
Yeah, so it's super... So, oh gosh, can't even describe it. So it goes... Out of the dark, into the light, out from the Traitors Gate. Yeah,
it's got, like, it's interesting rhythmically, I would say, because it's like... Like, it's just an interesting rhythm.
Yeah, it's got this jerky, fast call and response. Mm-hmm. It's got this awesome dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's like an epic soundtrack sort of thing.
And it's like, punchy, like the only thing is that, like, I feel like for such a catchy chorus, there's a lot of words for, like, because it feels like almost they should just be, like, one line repeated 4 times, but, like, there's different words every line
out of the
chorus.
Dark, into the light.
And then there's another repeat.
Traitors Gate.
Yeah, another repeat of that same melody with different words.
See, I don't agree. I think this tells an awesome story that's just epic and like this song is epic.
No,
and huge
I agree.
Enormous.
I agree. It has the epicness. I'm just being nitpicky.
Yeah, because you have to be, because it's such a good song that the only nits you can pick are small.
Yeah.
So then the bridge riff is this very sassy, climby, neoclassically thing under the bridge, and I really dig it.
Yeah. You do?
Yeah.
It's winding.
Yeah, it's certainly circuitous, is what I would say. It's got lots of notes. It moves a great deal. Mm-hmm. The solo is so good, and it's followed by this like singing melodic leads, and it's coming out of nowhere. These O's sort of come in, these sort of chanted sort of O's.
I feel like in an epic feeling song, O's are always appropriate.
You gotta expect them.
Like,
and the audience is gonna do it.
Yeah. Like, it's just when your song feels epic and chanty, like it's never inappropriate to have O's.
Never inappropriate to add your millennial woes.
Yeah, like as much as we make fun of them, like
great
for audience engagement,
Yeah, and they're not dream chorus, though. They're just specifically a choral O's, and it's just really good.
Yeah.
And just, Traitors Gate is just such a good song.
And, like, it ramps it up to the last verse and chorus. Like, I don't know, at least I noted that there was a really sweet drum fill right before the last verse. So, and that there's some, like, little guitar doodlies in it, like they like to do, amp up the last chorus or whatever. And then it ends on, like, a vocal high note.
Yeah.
Ow! Except my only problem with that is that the high note should have been louder. It didn't, like, it's almost like they turned the volume down just on that last note, which felt kind of odd to me. I don't know. It should have been louder to me.
Well, alright. The next song is No Surrender.
No Surrender. Did you want this song to surrender?
No, I want this song to live forever. So this song is the shortest song on the album at 2 minutes and 54 seconds. And I assume because it takes a lot of energy to go back in time to the 80s and just rip this song from the minds of a younger Rob Halford and all them. This song is so 80s, extremely. It's almost painful. The way it's mixed.
Like in tone, in composition.
Yeah, in content, it's just
80s as fudge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This guitar lead at the beginning is very 80s. And a very bright tone.
Yeah, it's got this big, echoey, sort of plate reverb, huge 80s
the classic,
glam sort of sound.
The 80s glam thing of having a very bright, shiny tone with lots of reverb.
Yeah, and the verse riff. It's the chorus is...
somehow, like, there's something that makes a riff sound 80s. I don't know exactly what the quality about a riff makes it sound 80s, but... this song has that.
But it's really chorus that makes this song. It's the simple rock drums, and that riff.
Well, and then there's the very quiet, like, just in the vocals, there's a very quiet, just backup vocals that are building a chord.
Yeah.
So you get the feeling of a major chord, but you can't specifically hear it.
And it's this, like, driving, chasing the dream, our hearts on fire, running our lives, our heart's desire. It's just this 80s sort of, like, chase that dream, Neon City, everything is...
Power rock.
Yeah, it's you can have everything you want if you just chase it.
If you team up with your friends and... chase after your goals.
Yeah, it's a power friendship. It just feels so... When you listen to it, you'll like I said, you'll see neon lights.
It's like you're running in slow-mo.
Yeah, and everything is like said neon, and you're... it's great. It's just so 80s. And this, I literally said, this solo tone took me back in time. This solo, it sounds like they like I said, they went back in time, took an amp, took guitars, took, Glenn Tipton from the time, and just was like, hey, could you play this solo real quick before we send you back, back in time, back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 2, or whatever. Anyway, so, and it's just, my gosh, it's so... luscious.
Yeah, and then when they finish solo and go to the last repeat of the chorus, the first half is it's just kick. It's just and like a chanting of
chasing your dream, the song.
And then the rest of the drums come in after the second half of the chorus, and I'm like, okay, like I literally laughed.
It's just so it's
like, of course they did that. Like, of course,
it's such a wonderful, like, 80s chase your dream, power friendship, power ballad that it's wonderful, and I really liked it.
It's fun.
In fact, now that I thought about it, I put a ranking on it that I no longer agree with.
But it's just very 80s. I felt like it didn't fit in to the album very well. Oh yeah,
it was definitely a lone wolf.
Lone Wolf. Did this song leave you out on your own?
Let me just say the one word I wrote in all capital letters about this song. Stank.
It is. It's got some stank.
This song is so heavy, so blues, so dirty.
The riff is syrupy, I wrote.
Literally, this song weighs you down.
Yeah. It flows like molasses.
Yes. So it starts off with this haunting, reverby, bluesy thing, and that completely... It just sets you... Because I noticed it was bluesy in its haunting reverbiness. I'm like, that's weirdly bluesy.
And then the riff comes in.
Hits you. Oh, God.
Yeah. If it's not tuned lower than the rest of the album, it feels like it is.
Like I said, this thing is like a weighted blanket someone threw on you. It's just so low, so heavy, so blues. It's got so much groove on it.
Yeah.
This song is amazing.
Yeah, it does what it's trying to do extremely well.
All caps, super fat, heavy blues riff.
Yeah, I wrote slow, heavy, syrupy, lovely.
Yes. So then, like, under the verse, it speeds up a little. Where it's
when it does the good thing of like being, it's like the same speed the whole verse, but it adds some more strumming, and the drums add some more beats.
That's what it is.
Yeah, like the verse. I'm saying the verse just like grows in intensity.
I am the fuse of your anger.
And does that slidey thing.
Oh,
yeah, some cool slidey vocals like in Flamethrower.
Yeah.
But then, unlike Flamethrower, the chorus actually sounds good. The chorus of the song is like, it's got the vocal melody is really nice. I liked it. And like, it's a little like faster, and it's not, it's not as heavy groovy, but I think it's nice because it kind of cuts that.
Juxtaposition, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like you get to come up for air for a second and then dive back into the groove.
I especially love this almost, it's not really atonal because obviously it's within the word, but it makes these chords when he says, Lone Wolf Calling. And it's this sort of like, it's got this wonderful...
Some great harmony there.
Yeah, it's so... It's got so much stank and so much sass, and I just love it so much, and I can't. I can't. So when it...
No. Well, I was gonna say, the verse, amazing. The main riff, amazing.
The intro riff, which goes back to after the chorus, that
which is as exactly as it should be. Because we said the chorus is coming up for air a little bit, and then it jumps right back into that super heavy, super syrupy riff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then when it gets to solo, it starts with a sick bend. If it started any other way, I would be sad. There's literally no other way the solo could have started. It's perfect.
This solo is bendy. It's bluesy. It's feely. Oh God, it's so good. This song is just so good. I can't even describe it.
What your favorite song of that?
But yeah, when we were listening to it, I think on the second time you were just watching me as I was just I was just so lost.
You're just feeling it.
I was just so lost in it.
And I was amused by how much you were feeling it.
Yeah, I almost don't want to move on to the next song.
Well, I was gonna say I only have one qualm with this song is that there's after the solo, it doesn't in my opinion it should have jumped directly back into that main riff or into the chorus or something, and then there's this just kind of blah section after the solo, and I'm well, that's kind of meh. And it ends unresolved, which is interesting because most of the songs just kind of do a chorus and then end, and this one kind of had a ended with a little tension, which I liked.
Yeah, 100%.
This is just a really well composed song aside from that
this
post-chorus
goes to show why they are they are one of the best, and they've been one of the best forever. That's just this is it.
Definitely a standout song.
Which is why I'm kind of disappointed in the next song, Sea of Red.
Sea of Red. How'd you feel about it?
So Sea of Red.
The ballad.
The ballad, yes. This is the longest song on the album.
Almost 6 minutes.
Natural for ballad. 5 minutes and 52 seconds exactly, I almost believe.
Almost 6.
And, it starts off with this gentle acoustic lead, this arpeggiation.
Yeah. It's very mournful. And
it goes on for too long, I feel, before the started. But, of course, a minute-long intro is, kind of standard in the metal community. So I'm not as upset by it.
A minute-long acoustic intro.
I will say, what I liked about it is when his vocal comes in, it's super intimate and super up close.
I was going to say that. This... the rest of this album, there's almost always, harmony or, lots of layers. That's kind of been a thing. Especially on choruses, there's always, lots of harmonies going on. And that's, a nice thing that I like about this album is that there's cool vocal harmonies and the vocals are always very powerful. But this is, nice because it's, you can hear the, nice little vocal moments, the little breaths or, stuff like that.
When he squeaks and breaks a little bit, sadly, on purpose. It's clearly very, purposeful.
Very intentional.
But it's just so... it shows Rob Halford is shockingly an amazing singer.
Yeah.
And shows his intense skill of vocal control. But it just also totally gets the feel of the song down. You understand that this is awful. This is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's the, this whole song has the feel of, after, a major battle has taken place. When the...
when the children of the sun have died one by one.
When you're, panning around to, all the survivors, and they're empty chairs at empty tables from Les Mis. It's kind of, got that vibe.
Sea of Red, the stories all unfold.
My friends, forgive me.
It even uses red.
It's the same song.
Yeah, so...
Same song, really.
At about 2.5 minutes in, the metal guitars come back in with these, it's this very big power ballady thing going on.
Yeah, and it very, this song very slowly adds in things one at a time. At first it's just, the acoustic, and then the vocals, and then the drums come in with, a really slow tom fill, and then after that the guitars come in.
Yeah, and he does this interesting...
with their distortion, I mean.
Yeah, and the last third of the song has this sort of, for the bridge section and under the solo, it's got this sort of this choir underneath it. Which, once again, the choir only shows up a couple of times in this album. And the first time I felt like it really fit, and here it makes sense, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
That's just purely a me thing.
I'm not a huge fan of it either. I just... require.
Well, it definitely adds to that end of movie. If we go back to Les Mis, it's that, you know, it's the big end of movie, like, choral choir that is epic.
Yeah,
you know?
the big, like, oh, how do we feel after all this stuff has happened? Like,
yeah, and I will say, this solo is just dripping with so much sadness that, like, you're like, man, how did they even record that solo without everyone just in the studio being like...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was still, like, maybe my expectations were too high, but, like,
Which is understandable, because Judas Priest is amazing.
Yeah, I listened to the solo, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice solo. I'm like, it should have been more emotional, but it was nice.
I thought it was wonderfully sad and emotional.
I guess it just, like, I don't know, didn't have enough bends for me, or whatever, I don't know.
It just didn't.
I like bends
there were
in my
too many
guitar
notes.
solos. There were just too many notes.
Okay, well, that's how you felt about that song. How'd you feel about the album as a whole?
I think it needed only one ballad instead of two. Could have gotten rid of one of those, I think. I don't really know which one, but overall it was good. Like, there's just all a big collection of solid, mid-tempo, straightforward heavy metal songs.
Yeah,
you know?
Classic new wave of British heavy metal. Like,
yeah.
This is exactly...
And, like, the thing is, it doesn't get repetitive or boring because each song is unique in its own way.
Despite the fact that so many of them are structured.
Yeah, even though they're formulaic, they're, like, still interesting.
It's a good formula.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a formula that works. And that you can apply different riffs, different grooves, different themes, too. So it's a very versatile formula.
Yeah. So, let's I'd like to say that this album, so I'm a big Judas Priest fan. You know, I have all their albums. I listen to all of it.
Really, are you allowed to like metal and not like Judas Priest? Like,
I mean,
I'm sure they're
into hardcore death metal, probably may not like Judas
I
Priest
mean,
or whatever, but it's just great. It's wonderful, and in my opinion, this album is great for almost anyone who likes metal. You have your slow bluesy stuff for your more stonery metal guys. You have your fast necromancery stuff for your thrash guys. You got your classic, no surrender stuff for your just metal guys. It just feels good.
Like Children of the Sun for like your power metal people.
Yeah, this album feels really good. So
when you can see Judas Priest, along with some other bands, like inspired all the different subgenres of metal because they were like one of the first metal bands, and you can even now you can see how they have like little elements that inspired everyone. We're like, oh,
this sounds very power metal-y. Well, it's because power metal came after this, and this sounds very this metal or that metal. It's because those all came after. And it's just they've shown that they are titans in the field, and they always have been.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, given that, what's your favorite and least favorite songs?
Top 3 and bottom 3?
Let's start with bottom 3.
Okay, bottom 3, my worst songs. That was actually kind of hard. And as I listened to them again, I realized that it was harder than I thought before.
I kind of felt like all the songs on this album I either loved or liked.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem.
It was either like, yeah, this is awesome, or like, yeah, this is pretty good.
I would say my third worst, so the least worst, was Sea of Red. Because I feel like it went a little too long, and I wouldn't have ended the album with it. I feel like Lone Wolf would have maybe been better, but due to the sort of story this album is telling, Sea of Red made sense. It was just a little bit too soft and flowery for me, and that's just the way it is. I said because because it stands alone as a song is kind of a throwaway, but Guardians is my second one because it's just
that doesn't count.
Yeah, it's just on. Oh, so if we're not counting,
include it in the next song.
Well,
it's the intro to the next song.
Okay, well then I can't because Rising Ruins is really good. Then I would say I guess Never the Heroes being the first ballad. I feel it's still a really good song. It's my second worst then, and my worst purely because of my disappointment. Yeah, my aggressive disappointment was Flamethrower.
It's so hard. Yeah, I agree with you on some of these things. I'm like, what are my 3 worst? I think I'm not going to put them in order because it's a lot of effort. So I'm going to say Never the Heroes is definitely in my bottom 3. Just because, I don't feel like there needed to be 2 ballads, and of the 2 ballads, it was not my preferred one. And lastly, I actually didn't like Rising from Ruins so much.
It was so powerful.
I just felt like because the verses were really boring in my opinion, and I felt like the boringness was necessary to get to an epic chorus, and the chorus wasn't really my jam so much either.
I don't agree.
Well, you are free to disagree. Do that if you must. I don't know what my other one is.
Well, I would say you express your disappointment in Flamethrower. Really.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd because aside from the chorus, like, everything else is so great that it, like...
You can't rate it down?
Yeah, like, if you average the two parts, like, it still averages...
Higher than...
The average is good. It's just that, like, the chorus is so disappointing.
All right.
So maybe I'll say that one, just because
right.
it's disappointing. But.
Then my three best, from least best to most best. The third best is actually Necromancer. Because it's got that thrashy lead that I just loved so much. It's got that rising pre-chorus and that really, like, that sort of marchy Necromancer, stealing out your life.
I'm gonna agree with you. That's also my number 3 song. Yeah, it's good.
My second favorite was Traitors Gate, because of that really awesome and that really awesomely fast intro verse riff, and that's that the really jerky, aggressive call and response of the chorus is just so good. It just felt so metal and hard hitting and wonderful, and I really loved that.
And I wonder what your number 1 is.
Yeah, what could my number 1 possibly be? I haven't said
idea.
any feelings about it.
No idea.
It's definitely Lone Wolf.
Yeah, of course.
Lone Wolf was it was made out of pure, sexy metal, and just, it's awesome.
Yeah, and so my top 2 are also the same, just flipped.
Oh.
I kind of preferred Traitors Gate just because it's a little more my speed, I guess.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like, Lone Wolf was awesome with its heavy syrupiness. Like, there's no way that you can't make stank face and
just get down low in it.
Groove with it. Yeah, and I just, Traitors Gate edged it out a teensy bit.
I understand. That really is our different perspectives on metal right there.
Yeah.
So, overall, would you recommend this album to others?
Definitely. Yeah. Any metal fan should listen to this album.
Yeah. There's so many genres touched on. Is clearly the creativity is insane.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. And
it's creativity combined with, like, being creative within a formula, so it's both popular and creative, you know? Like, it's digestible, yet interesting.
Yes. Are you going to keep this on your iPod?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, without question. I have every other Judas
Yeah,
Priest,
exactly. It's like I have the rest of their discography, so...
Yeah. And, would you recommend this? I already said would you recommend this others. Sorry, I can't even, like...
What would you rate it out of 10?
This one, I would easily say 8.
Yeah.
It was just really solid. It was
it's not replacing my number 1 Judas Priest album.
Painkiller?
Painkiller, yeah.
British Steel?
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
Living after midnight.
Oh, the Scream for Vengeance, that's one of the great... Anyway, but yeah, it's a good album.
Yeah, fantastic.
Very solid.
Everyone's a critic, I guess, including us. Bye-bye.